Hi boys and girls, my computer froze, so I'm not sure what you missed, so I'll show you this last page. That's where the lady put the hat on her. In the evening in the garden, this Miss Gibbons would help me make magical lamps by catching fireflies and putting them in a jelly jar. They would glow and glow, and then we'd let them go. I used to do that when I was little too. That's a really nice memory. Later at dinner time, this Mrs. Gibson would make more magic. Her hands would turn little bits of napkins into a whole flock of long-necked cranes. We would throw them in the air when they would fly high and then flutter down to the ground. Happy birds, she would always say. Some of you might have seen that. That's called origami, where you fold papers. So pretty. This Mrs. Gibson always had a pot of rice cooking. We would eat it with bits of meat and vegetables on it, and plenty of choux. Anytime we were hungry, she would take long chopsticks and stir dinner up in the blink of an eye. This Mrs. Gibson always had a pot of greens cooking. Turnip greens, dandelion greens, mustard greens from the garden. Everything she cooked seemed to take a long, long time. Look at these pictures. So you got the one Mrs. Gibson cooking and then the other Mrs. Gibson cooking. You notice, boys and girls, the background is the same, right? Yeah. It looks like they're in the same house. Does that give you a clue on how they're related or who they are to the little girl? This Mrs. Gibson had short curly hair, and she would oil and braid up every night when she listened to the radio. She liked to braid my hair too, but she would always give me one big fat braid that would hang down on my forehead. I didn't like that braid, so I would go to the other Mrs. Gibson and she'd take it out. This Mrs. Gibson used to have she had a long, thick, straight hair, but she cut it short and tried to make it curly. She said she wanted to be more American. Why do you think the one Mrs. Gibson wants to be more American? That's where we're from, America. So I think that means she wants to fit in, right? She looks different than what we look like, right? Remember, she's from Japan, so she's not from here. So she might want to fit in. Ooh, they're going to tell you who they are. So do you want to have one more guess? How are they related to the little girl? Who's this and who's this? All right. I don't want to spoil it for you. This Mrs. Gibson's other name is Kazuma. Everyone called her Kaz or Connie because they couldn't pronounce Kazumi. I called her Mommy because she was my mother. This Mrs. Gibson's other name was Viola. Everyone called her V or Reverend Gibson because she was a church minister. I called her Nanny because she was my grandmother. Ooh, was your guess right? So that's the mom, that's the little girl, and that's the grandma. So this must be the daddy. I once knew two Mrs. Gibsons. They were different, but they had a lot in common. They both loved my daddy, and they both loved me. Wow, that's this picture from the back. Were you right, boys and girls? Did you think how they were related together? Boy, what a good story. I really liked that, boys and girls. So what do you think we could learn from this story? Remember, all this week we're talking about family, taking care of each other, what's it like to be in a family, what's good, what's hard. What do you think we could learn from this story? I'll give you a second to think about it. What I learned, boys and girls, is that we can look different from our family members, right? So this family all looks different, right? And you might look the same but be different inside. Everybody's different. But that doesn't mean you're not family, right? That you don't love each other. Loving each other makes you a family, not looking like each other. I really like that story, boys and girls. I hope you did too. We're going to talk about it. Good luck.